If you asked me to describe the North Shore of Maui in one word, I couldn't do it. It's a surf town, it's a farm town, an arts town. You got kids on a bike with no shoes on. And it's all stitched together along 10 miles of Hana Highway. Today I'm taking you through a few of the neighborhoods that make up the North Shore, Paia, Kuau, Haiku, and Spreckelsville, plus a few of the smaller pockets inside them that people ask me about pretty much every single week. So you've got lifestyle, shops, beaches, and I'll give you ballpark numbers on what it costs to live here. Quick intro, if you're new here, I'm Josh Fine. I've been a licensed agent since 2013 and I've lived on Maui since 2020. Most of that here on the North Shore. I've helped people buy their first cottage, sell family land that's been in the Hana for generations, and everything in between. So this isn't a generic take, this is what it actually feels like to live here, neighborhood by neighborhood. So let's start where most people start, which is in Paia. Paia is the heartbeat of the North Shore. It's one traffic light, it's a few blocks of false front buildings, and somehow it packs in more personality per square foot than almost anywhere on Maui. It's an old sugar town that was taken over by surfers and windsurfers in the 70s and 80s. It never really let go of that hippie surf town soul. It just added some good coffee. For food, you've got Paia Fish Market for fresh catch tacos. Skip the line and order it to go. You've got the Choice Health Bar for fresh and locally sourced plant-based drinks and eats. Flatbread Company for wood-fired pizzas. Milagro and Cafe Mambo for like margaritas. Cafe de Mi for crepes. Mana Foods is the health food grocery store that everybody shops at, whether they're local or they just moved here or visiting and getting some food for their trip out in the Hana Highway. That store has been around since the 80s and it really perfectly captures the whole vibe of Paia. Shopping wise in town, you can expect gift shops, surf shops, little art galleries, and you could spend an hour or more without meaning to just wandering in the shops. Beach wise, Paia Bay, it's great for longboarding or boogie boarding, but Baldwin really takes the cake for like a nice long beach walk. Just outside of town, you're minutes from Ho'okipa Beach Park, one of the most famous windsurfing and big wave surf spots on the planet. On any given afternoon, you're gonna see green sea turtles climbing out and resting in the sand and pro windsurf ripping out in the waves at the same time. So the first little area I'm gonna talk about is just tucked up the hill from downtown, and it's between the old sugar mill and the Paia Elementary. It's a neighborhood called Skill Village. And it's a small pocket of mostly single family homes built back in the 80s. There's no HOA. And it's honestly one of the more attainable ways to plant your flag walking distance to Paia town. The lots tend to run about 6,000 square feet or so. It's not flashy, it's just a genuinely good, quiet spot to live like 2 minutes from everything Paia has to offer, and you can walk into town. It's definitely less than a mile. So Paia town proper, which would include Skill Village, has been trading with a median list price of like $3 million lately for single family homes. But that number is really skewed towards oceanfront and near ocean estates. So we've had some big sales. It was actually down 16% year over year. So the market here has room to negotiate. On the more attainable end, Skill Village homes have generally been listing from high 600s to around $1 million. And maybe a little bit over $1 million, depending on size and the updates. Again, these are ballparks, so I'll cover why you need current numbers in a minute. When you head east out of Paia, about a mile, you're gonna be in Kuau area. This is smaller, quieter, more residential stretch. It's where a lot of Paia's charm continues, but the pace drops even further. Kuau is home to Mama's Fish House, which is easily one of the most photographed restaurants in the whole state. It's right on the sand at Kuau Cove. Beyond that, it's mostly homes there and some of the most desirable real estate in this whole coastline. So in Kuau, you've got a couple pockets people ask me about the most. First is closer to town, it's Kuau Bayview. This is the neighborhood that sits furthest east from Paia town that still has a sidewalk access back to it. So you can generally walk or bike into town from Kuau Bayview. This area was developed in the 90s. It's mostly 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes around 1,200 to 1,500 square feet with attached garages. There is an active HOA, and there's a community park at the top of the subdivision. It's got its own baseball field, soccer field. It's a huge draw for families. The other area in Kuau is Kuau Peninsula, and there's a lot of smaller little pockets in between there too. It's also called Kuau Point, and this is the oceanfront stretch. It's completely different tier. You're looking at a mix of true beachfront estates and some old school plantation cottages mixed in. There's also some of the last vacant beachfront lots left on the island, on this side of the island anyway. And it's the closest residential neighborhood to Ho'okipa. There's also a quirky little 30-unit building called Kuau Plaza from 1974, and it's really the only one of its kind on the whole North Shore. It's a neighborhood that people buy into for the views, the location, and the ocean access. Kuau Bayview homes have generally been selling $1.1 million to $1.5 million lately. Kuau Peninsula and Oceanfront Kuau properties are a different story entirely. These are $3 million and up. Some of these parcels, you can get into the 8 figures pretty easily. We're gonna move out of Paia and head into Haiku now. You keep heading along the highway, the road narrows, the canopy gets thicker, it's a little more jungly, and then you're in Haiku. If Paia is the town center and Kuau is the quiet oceanfront cousin, Haiku is the wild card. It's rural, it's green, it's a little off the grid in spirit, even when it's not off the grid literally, but you'll find old pineapple cannery buildings converted into shops. There's several famous surfboard shapers there, coffee roasters, and some of the best hidden gem restaurants on the island just tucked into these old converted warehouses. It's definitely not the walkable strip area like in town, but it's about pockets. Haiku Town Center is a great little spot. It's got fitness studios, yoga studios, jiu-jitsu, a handful of restaurants. And from there, you're 10 minutes to Ho'okipa and maybe 15 minutes into Paia. This whole area out in Haiku is also waterfall country, so you're getting more rural, more rainfall. As you're heading out on the Hana Highway, you're gonna go by Twin Falls, and that's probably one of the most popular stops on the road to Hana for a reason. It's beautiful and it's easily accessible. Homes range from old plantation style cottages to like pretty fancy architect built estates with fruit orchards, private waterfalls. It's the most varied neighborhood on the North Shore in terms of both lifestyle and price. Inland and a little bit higher up in elevation as you go up the road is Haiku Mauka. There's about 40 lots in there. Everything's about 2 acres. And it sits near a local equestrian center and a park that people affectionately call Giggle Hill. So yeah, it's a great spot. It's zoned for larger residential and agricultural use, which is exactly why buyers come there. They've got space, they've got privacy, and oftentimes there's a peekaboo ocean view. And then there's Haiku Town Acres, which is kind of similar. There's a mix of CPR and non-CPR agricultural parcels. And that one's a little bit closer to town. I would say that that one also has a little bit more epic ocean views, really private feel to it. That one's now gated. And it's got some good land use flexibility, so most of these lots allow for second homes broken up in CPR. So that's great for multi-generational families, development, anyone thinking about having a little bit of rental income on the property as well. Another neighborhood of note would be Kauhikoa Farms. That's a small gated 13-lot subdivision with parcels that are 2.5 to 5 acres. And there's ones that are currently under construction as well. So you've got some new properties, new homes going in there. It's kind of raw land, new homes, and it's relatively close into Haiku Town there. Haiku overall offers a huge range in terms of pricing. So you'll see plantation cottages that might be in the 800s, and then you'll see custom estates with larger acreage that are 2 million, 3 million, maybe even higher. In farms specifically, vacant lots run $500,000 and up, even 1.5 million for larger, more developed parcels. So you've got a pretty broad range there. All right, the last little neighborhood that I want to talk about is Spreckelsville, aka Sprecks. Geographically, it's the neighborhood closest to Kahului, and you're going to be minutes from the airport. It's actually super close. You can almost walk right in next to the airport there. A lot of people love it for the convenience. Spreck's has some of the best sandy beach access on the entire island because it connects into Baldwin Beach and also Sugar Cove. But it also has like a lot of historic character that you don't get anywhere else. Some of these properties are kind of sugar plantation era cottages, but like a little bit higher end cottages, and they're sitting right on the ocean. Some of these have been absolutely beautifully restored, and some are still waiting for that right buyer to bring them back to their glory. So it's a quieter, more residential stretch than like in Paia. There's no restaurants or anything else around right there. So the neighborhood itself is more about being near the beach, being near the Maui Country Club, taking those walks down Baldwin Beach, and I would call it like a laid-back luxury area. Spreckelsville is definitely like a little luxury pocket there. Homes generally have started probably around 3 million right now, can climb well past 4 million, and the true oceanfront estates are 8 figures, 10 million, 11 million even for some properties right now. All right, so a quick recap. For the North Shore, Skill Village and Haiku's kind of more affordable pockets are where you'll find the lowest entry points on the North Shore, generally starting high 600s, really 800s. Kuau Bayview and mid-range Haiku sit in the $1 million to $1.5 million zone. And for oceanfront Kuau, Spreck's, and the high end of Paia, you're probably looking at 3 million and up. And I want to be straight with you. Every single one of those numbers is a snapshot from current times. It's July 2026. Maui's market moves fast. Inventory shifts from week to week. By the time you're watching this, those numbers could be higher, they could be lower, or it could be a completely different picture. So ballpark numbers are great for planning, but they're not a substitute for real current comparative market analysis. If any of these neighborhoods caught your eye, whether you're thinking about buying a first home on Maui, picking up a piece of land in Haiku, or you're already here and wondering what your place is worth in today's market, reach out to me directly. I live on this side of the island. I walk these streets, I surf these breaks, and I can pull real current numbers for whatever neighborhood you're curious about, not just a ballpark. My contact info is here and down in the description. So send me a message and let's talk about what living in the North Shore could actually look like for you. All right, that's the North Shore, Paia, Kuau, Haiku, and Spreckelsville. 4 areas, one incredible stretch of coastline. If you want more neighborhood breakdowns like this one, subscribe, drop a comment with the next area you want me to cover. Until next time, I'm Josh Fine, this is Maui Real Life, and I'll see you out there. Aloha.